right, cool. What's up, y'all? So today I have a good friend of mine, a gentleman I've known for probably 2 years now. This guy has worked with, you guys have seen me talk about William Rapscotty is one of my actual close friends in the industry. Don't have many of them. And this is his guy. I've known him for a while. We've been working together for, I think it's almost like 3 months now. But I'm bringing him on, y'all, because I think that he has a very interesting perspective. If you're seeing this video, we are now at the point, 3.5 year mark of doing business where we're focusing a little bit more on like building out personal brands for agents rather than just doing our leasing model, more of kind of like a pseudo ownership where they come in and we help them establish their brand. We run ads inside of their account, build out their landing pages, etc. And wanted to bring this gentleman on because he's had an interesting journey working with us. We're nowhere near finished, but I think that it's a good starting point. So I want to introduce you guys. Espo, like I said, good friend of mine, and I'm super excited to have you on, man. Thank you for taking some time today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the intro as
Of
well.
course. Of course, of course. So we're gonna hop straight into it, man. First and foremost, I always just like to give a kind of brief overview. Can you tell the people a little bit about like your journey getting into life insurance in general? Like how did you get started, et cetera, and kind of catch us up to speed to where you are now?
Yeah, of course. So I've been in the industry since I was 18. So I've been doing this right around 7 years. I started off as a captive agent working for, I think it was a Fortune 500 carrier, but I started off a 25% comp level with a 6 month advance. And then I've actually been doing FFL for right around 3 years now. So I enjoy it. I like the idea of being my own boss and kind of going the entrepreneurial route with things because I know that, your life can change obviously much quicker when you have a diverse set of products versus just, looking at the industry as, a 40, 50-year career, which again, for some people that's great. But for me, I just knew that, when I saw the comp, in addition to obviously having a suite of products to be able to serve people at the highest level, I knew that, this opportunity was it for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I appreciate that. Kind of transitioning into the next part, can you talk a little bit about like you said you've been doing this for 3 years. So I want to kind of talk about before we met, before we get into like us meeting, a little bit about your experience, right? Like highs, lows with like working with traditional lead vendors, running ads yourself, just for context for people so they kind of know a little bit about you before we met.
Yeah. So for me, it's always been kind of like up. Everybody has their ups and downs, but in terms of having like a steady trajectory upward, you can't really, from experience, I can't really say that I've had that because every time I have lead vendors, I drop a couple bands here, 2, 3 grand, 7 grand, 8 grand over the course of, a month, 2 months. And something always happens. Either the lead vendor shuts down, they get sold out, or the quality of the lead ultimately drops. So, in my experience, right, I've hit some pretty high points, but in the same breath, in terms of having something sustainable, that's ultimately why we're on this call to discuss that. But from a vendor standpoint, guys, there's so many vendors out there. There's so many people running advertising, marketing. I'll do this to your business. I'll implement this into your business. Just to come to find out 60 to 90 days later, again, either the quality drops, they get sold out, they're not doing it anymore. There's just a bunch of gray areas, if you will, when it comes to leads. And I think that's a big thing for a lot of people in the industry right now, trying to find someone like yourself that actually establishes something that is sustainable, not necessarily getting you the instant gratification results like lead vendors preach that they'll give you, but having something sustainable long term that'll give you consistent results. I've yet to find that, with a lead vendor up until, obviously working with Trey. So obviously
Yeah.
working with you.
And I think that's a good point, man. This is just a pivot because this just kind of came off the cusp now. But if an agent's in that situation, like what's your recommendation for them? Let's say, because you have a unique story, I kind of want them to hear about, running your own ads and whatnot. But my question to you is if I'm an agent, I'm working with vendors, like you said, I'm in that up and down. Like what would
Right.
your advice be to them? Like somebody that's watching this video, just kind of like looking for help. You know what I mean? What would
Yeah.
you say to them to help them in their situation?
Yeah, in full transparency, find someone that has tenure in the space, right, of advertising, right, like yourself. And I'm not trying to sound biased, but you guys gotta do your research, find people that are actually establishing sustainable implementations of systems in the business from a lead standpoint, right? So I started running leads back in October of last year. And in addition to that, my experience wasn't fantastic. I was able to get a couple of ads up and running, but from a again, sustainability standpoint, quality, intent, it just wasn't ultimately what I was looking for. One out of every 100 leads that would come in, I would probably close, right? And I would maybe have 10 people that were up in the air, semi interested. So, the creative was good, right? The video, it caught traction, but from a metric standpoint and actually going through, filling out the form, knowing what questions to ask, pretty much to get the person from A to Z through the ad and have the lead actually be intentful and good quality and someone actually looking for the protection, that was pretty much the hurdle for me, which is, obviously why I, got set up with you and pretty much just had you come in and run my ads manager. So
Yeah, no, 100%. And by the way, guys, like if you're listening to this, it doesn't have to be me. Listen to what he just said was find somebody who's an expert. There's tons of people out here similar to myself who do know how to like do marketing and do it well. And that's what I always try to preach to people is, try to find people who are actually marketing, not just selling you leads. I think it's super important for an agent. Okay, cool. So I want to go into I want to hop into it and start with like your experience starting with us because you guys know when I do this, I always try to be super transparent and let you guys know that like everything's not peaches and roses. So can you talk about like the first 30 to 40 days when working with us and just like your overall experience and like why you continue to work with us even after those 30 to 40 days? But I want them to hear it directly from you about like how the process went.
yeah, so obviously good things take time. First 30 to 40 days, I would say what we had realistically, I had a few sales, right? Guys, good things take time. I think a lot of people in the industry, and not to, go off on a tangent regarding the question that you asked, but everybody's looking for that quick quality of leads that are high intentful. Here's a couple grand, send me the leads, right? But from a sustainability standpoint, and again, I guess you guys could say I'm biased to Trey, but in the same breath, guys, right? There's not a lot of people out here that are implementing what he is from a longevity standpoint. Everybody's looking for the quick fix. Hence why when I first started, that's what I was looking for. Just the lead vendor that has the best quality leads. Here's, 300 a day. Here's 1,000 a week. Here's 1,500 a week. Just make sure the leads are good, right? It's just from a long-term standpoint, guys, it's not sustainable. So regarding my experience, what did we have last week, bro? 11 grand submit
Yeah.
like one day. Everybody's putting in that work, right? You're making, 500, 1,000 dials a day. You may not see the results right away, but again, from a sustainability standpoint, guys, it takes time. The leads that you close, the people that you actually get to buy a policy and ultimately have it stick on the books, that takes time. It takes time for the algorithm inside the ads manager to develop and, get that quote unquote target audience. That's what, a lot of people talk about. But once you have that target audience dialed, that's when it really just starts ultimately taking off and the quality goes up, the intent's there. But yeah, the first 30 to 40 days, I mean, not terrible, not rough, but I wouldn't say sustainable as well,
Yeah,
make
for sure.
making a lot of dials, getting clever. If you guys have been jumping lead vendors the past 2 to 3 years, I'm assuming you guys have at least the people that are watching the video that you have at least 100, 200 people in your book of business. Get clever with that, right? Check in with your book while you're implementing the system. And before you know it, the quality eventually does go up. And then just getting smart with referrals and making every swing at the bat count for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I appreciate you for being transparent during that question as well. Because I want people to understand, like, very clear, like, when we partner and work with you, some people come out the gate and their first week, first month, it's smacking and it smacks forever. And then other people come out and their first week or first month or even first 2 months is not that great. And we're always preaching just like stay the course, things will pick up. Like, that's just a part of it because at the end of the day, you got to look at marketing in 3, 6, and 9 month sprints, theoretically, right? Like, that's genuinely how it's set up because you want to build something, like you said, that's sustainable. So I do appreciate you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I want to I want to talk about something briefly that I think is super important. Let's talk about, we talked about the marketing and that's fine. I want to talk about your sales process because just so everybody knows, like Espo is a very unique person with the way that he does. By the way, he does do IULs, advanced markets, very, very intelligent representative of like how to leverage life insurance. I actually had a conversation with him to say, hey, maybe you should do one call closes. And it was kind of like, nah, that's not my thing. And I was like, all right, well, but respectfully to him though, listening to us having numerous conversations and then seeing that transition that happened at that 45, 60 day mark, I noticed that it fits his style. And for a long time, a lot of people that agents we've been working with the past 3.5 years have all done simplified issue, excluding one of his mentors and good friends, Scotty. So I want you to talk about a little bit, brother, like why don't you, I'm not gonna say why don't you do one call close, but like what makes your process different? Can you just like explain it? Because there's a ton of agents that ask me this, like, hey man, like should I do I one call close? Do I book the appointment? Like, can you just walk like psychologically, like why you do it and kind of explain a little bit? And then obviously I'll ask just about like kind of your process from the phone script to getting them onto Zoom. But yeah, if you could just explain that first part to me, I think that would be great for agents to kind of learn and hear from your perspective.
So I'm up in New York, guys. It's 2025, right? Anybody can get on the phone and do a one call close, final expense, one call close IUL. But the reality is, what is the chances of the client actually keeping the policy? And in addition to that, with how many people are trying to sell this IUL right now, what are the chances if you set them up with the IUL over the phone, you explained it 5 to 10 minutes, right? Hey, yeah, it's indexed in the market. Here's the allocations. This is what you can, hope to see on an annual basis. And then you just expect them to make a decision. I mean, the people that are selling these IULs based on death benefit for the people that are, 60, for the clients that are 60, 70 years old, like, yeah, I get that. If they're healthy, if they want a lot of protection, they don't care as much about the cash, they have retirement funds elsewhere and really don't need to utilize the plan like a savings account, if you will. One call close over the phone all day. But from a professionalism standpoint, yes, my process is Zoom. It is a little bit longer of a turnaround time from a closing standpoint, right? But for me, I'd rather wait a week to submit an app knowing that it's actually going to stay on the books and not charge back
Mm.
versus setting the client up on a one call close and hoping that they keep it, right? And then they call me up in 2, 3 years. Hey, yeah, how much cash value do I have? Oh, zero. Yeah, because I set you up the wrong way.
Right, right.
So from a sustainability standpoint, yeah, guys, my process is Zoom. I think a big factor is finding a carrier that absolutely not necessarily everything about their specific IUL, but you're fluent with it, right? Like the Moo IULE. I could sell that over the phone all day, right? But the reality is there's an 8 year surrender window on that product because it's, again, it's simplified issue. It's structured really around the protection and the death benefit, which if someone's 40, right, and they really plan on utilizing this for income and retirement or savings account or whatever else it may be, if they plan on making, a 20-year payment and cutting off payments when they're 60, 65, you can't do that with an IULE and have it legitimately be sustainable from a cash value standpoint. So, I mean, does that answer the question? My thing is, guys, like you got to find a carrier that has a really good IUL. Like for me, it's NLG. I love that IUL. I know there's a bunch of other carriers, Allianz, F&G, that do a good job with their product, with their IUL product. But the reality is, guys, NLG has been, and I'm not preaching NLG, but I'm just very fluent with that. Again, Scotty is my mentor. He did NLG. So again, kind of the apple doesn't really fall far from the tree. I was just taking the advice that he gave me, finding a carrier with a good product, mastering it, always staying coachable, always staying teachable, calling into the carrier, asking them about different riders, funding limits, the max non-mech, things of that nature. And also, calling in to make sure that, you're structuring the plan properly and just putting the client in the best position. The Zoom call is giving the client a visual of the product, right? People obviously buy you from a person sales standpoint, but when you actually show them something that is a projection of how their money's going to grow over the course of the next, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however long they keep it, based on the previous 3 to 4 decades of real-time market data. I mean, you walk through the illustration, you explain it, and it's a close almost all, it's a close almost all the time, for the people that, are financially savvy, that have their ducks in a row, that really don't have any life insurance now, supplement in term with it. But yeah, IULs are my thing. And yes, I do use Zoom.
No,
Zoom is where all the magic comes together, bro. It's where all the puzzle
yeah.
pieces come.
Yeah, I wanna take a step back on a few things that you said for a lot of agents. First of all, can you explain how you learned the difference? Because so many people are just trying, you said something that's super important. I don't want people to miss it, is you said don't try to basically take the fast route to just
Right.
get somebody closed on the phone without presenting it to them, showing them exactly what's happening because they'll run into chargebacks, right? They'll have bad clients,
Right.
people, etc. Can you explain what that shift was for you? Because I'm sure it was very enticing as, oh yeah, let me just do the quick thing to get paid right now. Versus, like you said, essentially, hey man, I'd rather wait a little bit longer, potentially even lose a client than just have a bunch of people signing up versus having steady clients. Can you explain like how you got that mindset and kind of where you learned that that was a better option for you in your process?
Can you say that again? So what's the question again? I'm sorry, bro.
You're good, bro. So basically, I want to know at what point did it click in your mind to say that I don't want to do this fast, quick application thing. I actually want to make sure that I present to people and show people that's like, was that something you learned?
Oh, yeah. No, it's a good.
Like, how did you get there?
Yeah, so I got there actually from selling final expense. Like I started running into people that were like 40, 50 years old that wanted, more than 50, 100,000 in death benefit. And then in addition to that, just like I can't thank Scotty enough, honestly. Like Scotty's the reason why I do the IUL the way that I do. So, I mean, I guess you could say it's mentorship, but in the same breath, people, there's a lot of dirty agents out there, right? People that are just looking for a quick buck. Here's 100,000 death benefit, $100 a month, $1,000 commission, boom, run. You never talk to them again, right? But for me, I wanted to find a way to do this that I can build up a solid book of business, right? And again, just longevity. I think with the change in technology, how quick everything is now, I mean, you guys can go on Amazon and literally have something at your doorstep in 24 hours, and I feel like that concept, at least for the younger generation, carries over sometimes from personal life to business life, and they see other people getting the results. They see, yeah, what's the quickest way to do this, right? Not knowing that 6 months down the road, they get hit with, 10 bans and chargebacks. So for me, the reason that I do it that way is again sustainability and long term. And again, I figured that out when I started running final expense leads, and I had clients that were coming through that were requesting more than just a little whole life policy, and then in addition to that, not wanting a term product
Mhm.
that expires. So the clients actually started asking me about it, and that's what kind of raised my awareness. And it was kind of a kick in the ass, like, hey, yeah, you need to get educated on this. You need to show this product. It's a very hot commodity. It's the only vehicle that allows you to grow money tax free. And then, again, if you need to borrow against it along the way, that's on a tax free basis too. Oh, in addition to that, for most people, it comes with over six figures in death benefit for, right around 150 a month for people that are, under the age of 50. But yeah, I figured it out when it came, again, the lesson came through learning, the lesson came through running final expense leads, and again, getting.
I want to do like a quick role play. Doesn't have to be super long, but just to give people an understanding of like what you say, why you say it. And then, yeah, I mean, I won't give you any objections or anything, but I think it's super important for people to know because that's another question I get for a lot of people who don't do the one call close. They're like, well, how do I book the appointments, get them to show up, etc. So we'll role play first and then kind of talk about your strategy. So I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, Trey.
Yes.
This is Pat. I'm actually calling regarding the form of mine you had just filled out on social media looking for the IUL information. Yeah, and that's most of the time what they say. I'll be like, yeah, so my name's Pat. It looks like your primary goal when you had filled out the form was to grow your money tax free. Is that correct? You remember that?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, perfect, man. So my name's Pat. I'll actually be the one educating you on the program and pretty much just showing you how it works. And I just wanted to see, what has you looking into it? Is it just curiosity, or have you been doing, research on the IUL for quite some time?
Yeah, so I've like had family members talk about it. I had heard somebody on a YouTube video one time talk about like using life insurance. So it's always piqued my interest. And I just saw the advertisement and it sounded like you knew what you were talking about. So I figured I'd, kind of fill it out. Look, I'm definitely looking to hear some more information.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. It sounds to me like you got some smart family members. So, on a scale 1 to 10, how much would you say you know about it?
I chat GBT'd it a little bit. So maybe like three, maybe four. Not too much, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, well, I appreciate your honesty. Well, it looks like here you had listed your birthday as 7/30 of 94. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And
Perfect. Awesome, man. So yeah, pretty much what I like to do is a two-part. I typically book my process in increments of two, right? So the first part of the call, I just gather some analysis, make sure it's something you'd be able to qualify for from a medical standpoint, and then ask you some other questions as well regarding what your goals were with the plan and what your current financial situation is. With that analysis trade, that'll actually give me the ability to what's called create the illustration. And all it is really just a visual of the numbers and ultimately how the plan is going to look for you and how your money is going to grow short and long term. So, do you have any cancer, heart attack, stroke, any medical conditions or no?
No, I'm pretty much healthy. I have heard something about somebody told me along when I was talking to a family member, they were talking about health, which is kind of why I was interested because I'm pretty healthy, I would say.
Right. Yeah. So health plays a factor, man, because it's life insurance. So it's all about risk. It's based on two things: your age and your health, right? So again, the younger you are, the cheaper the cost of insurance is going to be for you. That way, again, majority of the money that you put into it in the early stages is going to go towards what's called your cash value. And that is the money that's indexed, hence the name Index Universal Life. So yeah, I mean the IUL trade, it's not really black and white just because of how many different ways there are to actually customize the plan, set a certain funding schedule. We can actually cut off payments later on in your later years. That way, again, you're pretty much self-insured at that point. And, again, you can experience the luxury of having cheap cost of insurance even in your later years because you decided to get your ducks in a row set up with it. Now, my next question is, do you have any like DUIs, any criminal history, DWIs, anything of that sort?
No, never had any run-ins with the law or anything like that.
Perfect. Do you have a valid driver's license? Trey?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then what are you doing for work?
Currently a truck driver.
Nice, man.
With
How
my
long? How long you been doing that?
6 years.
Very nice. Cool. You enjoy it or no?
It's got its highs and lows. I spend a lot of time away from my wife. We have a dog. I don't always get to spend time with them, but I mean, I definitely make some pretty solid money. So, make sure that, we have everything that we need and some a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. You gotta make the sacrifices, man. It offsets though. So that's good, man. Glad to hear that. So yeah, man. And then what was your goal with the IUL? I mean, what did you want it to do for you?
I mean, from the little research I've done and the way that my cousin had told me a little bit of information about it, I wanted to put some money in there, maybe 250, $300 a month into it. Because right now I'm currently investing like $100 into the stock market, but I want to be maybe a little bit more aggressive with this because I heard something about like no floor and stuff like that, which is kind of what I chat GPT, like some of the benefits. And that got me kind of excited when I saw the ad as well. So I would say that, just whatever. Like I said, I'm not super well versed on all the things that it maybe could do, but I would say that my biggest thing is the fact that I know it's going to grow, steadily over time. And it kind of already aligns with what I'm doing with the stocks every month.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, no, understandable. I appreciate that insight. And then in terms of like current retirement strategies, that you're implementing for yourself right now, you're currently setting, funds aside for retirement, any like 401ks or anything like that.
Yeah, I actually am. I put about $200 a month. I don't have anything with like 401k. I just put it into a specific savings account. I'm kind of just like I said, watching videos on different things. That's how I got into the stocks. I just been watching videos for years and then now I've kind of started doing that and then now this. So I'm just trying to self-educate. I don't
Yeah.
have anything that I'm currently investing in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. So it sounds to me like you're, just looking to put your eggs in multiple baskets and kind of mitigate the risk and spread it out. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, it definitely sounds to me like you'd be a good candidate, for the instrument. Just to kind of briefly explain to you how it works, right? There's two different buckets that the money goes into when you make the premium payments on it, right? Because it's life insurance, it's a monthly premium. You have the ability to pay it monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. One bucket is going to be your cash value. That's the portion of money that the carrier sets aside and they invest it for you through that indexing strategy. Again, as time goes on, you have the ability to access the funds if needed for whatever reason, finance a car, finance a home, real estate investing, or if you had some type of business venture that you wanted to pursue, you can utilize it for that. And then on the flip side of it, the other bucket is going to be your cost of insurance or your death benefit, which is the portion of money that's payable to your family in the event that you were to pass, Mountain. In addition to that, the programs also have living benefits. So any type of major illnesses or injuries along the way that you may suffer from while paying on this. Under ownership, the carrier is going to advance you early access to that lump sum of money to be able to maintain retain those costs, medical and non-medical, associated with the injury or the illness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, man, I definitely would like to kind of steer in the right direction. What I do with most of my guests at this point, it's really just, either I end the call and say, hey, I'll send you to someone else, or what I like to do with you for the people that, again, based on the analysis that I gather, are healthy enough to qualify for it, I'd like to invite you onto a Zoom call. Are you familiar with Zoom?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man. So the Zoom is really where everything comes together. It's really important that you actually get a visual of what I'm talking about versus just a verbal explanation over the phone, because that visual will really give you the information, facts, and figures you need to make an informed decision. So, did you have a couple seconds right now?
Not at this moment. I'm about to go eat dinner, but I will be available in like an hour and a half if you can do that.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you just turn the burners off and I'll just send you the Zoom link now and we can get it taken care of. So I'm playing.
No, I got you. I got you. But no, that's it though. That's it. That's it. I like it.
Yeah.
I want to take some steps back for people that have watched that through because here's the thing that I just realized by listening to you. Your approach for anybody that understands high ticket sales is like a high ticket appointment setter. You're not approaching it like a sales rep. So for everybody that listened to that, when you go back and re-listen, keep your frame of mind that listen to everything he said. He came from an educational standpoint. Nothing about that conversation sounded salesy. I didn't even feel like, even with the role playing, that it felt even aggressive. It was very just like laid back. It was almost like, hey, I don't really need you to do this right now. You know what I mean? Because you filled it out. So I'm really chill and I'm asking questions rather than I'm just trying to get you to get booked. And I would be surprised if somebody went through that whole process that they didn't show up to the Zoom because of the way that he went through that to get me to either, hop on right now or to get me to hop on at a specific time. So everybody really should pay attention and re-listen to that with that frame of mind because he literally was walking through the process trying to educate the client to also build rapport, right? He wasn't just sitting here saying dumb stuff. He was being very intentional with the questions that he was asking. Hence why, and if you could for people, can you explain a little bit about like the type of premiums that you typically write whenever you do have these policies? Because it's different for you because you're actually educating them. They feel more confident, putting the money in, but I won't speak for you. Can you kind of walk agents through the type of premiums that you do write and why you write them based off of, the way you structure your Zoom calls?
Yeah, yeah. So the way that I always start, right, regardless of how much the client makes, okay, they have to make at least, 3 G's a month in order for me to write something, realistically. I'm always showing anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000 a year because that's what most people decide to contribute towards some type of retirement account, Roth IRA, 401k, anything of that sort. So I just translate it over, right? So if you think about it, the person's employer, let's say they make, 2,000 a week, but they have, this is after deductions, right? Net. Right, you have a portion that comes out for tax, Social Security, federal income tax, right? Your 401k, your retirement accounts, maybe life insurance that you have with work. So people already have 50 to 100 a week being deducted from their check. They just don't fucking check. They don't. They don't look at the statement. They just see it hit their bank account and that's it, right? They don't even like, yeah, I'm contributing 3%. Well, if you ask someone, hey, yeah, what's 3%? So I really translate this, I implement the retirement strategy to the IUL. I know it is just life insurance, but from a cash building standpoint, it helps with the illustration too, because when you show the growth 10, 20, 30 years down the road, it's not going to be very appeasing if you're showing, 50, $100 a month, so I'll start with 500, anywhere between 4 to 500 a month. Again, 350 to 500 a month. That's what I start with. Right. And I'll tell them flat out, I'm like, yeah, this isn't what you have to put in. This is just, again, what most people contribute towards putting money aside for later. Tell them flat out too. I'll be like, yeah, so at the end, we can customize it and really just you tell me what levers you want to see turned. You tell me what numbers you want to see from a monthly basis standpoint. And then I show them, how their money will grow based off the contribution that they select. But the reason I do that, guys, is because, again, this is why I said, on the intake call, right? It's not black and white, right? Again, most people are trying to just sell the IUL and death benefit, 200,000, 150,000, 100,000. Which one do you want? Here are the premiums. Which one do you want? Right? After, again, a 10-minute explanation. And just, again, long term, if someone is really looking to utilize this plan like a bank and I just set them up with a simplified issue IULE, there's an 8-year surrender window on that. So does that answer your question?
No, no, it does, spot on, and I think that's super helpful for people to
Yeah.
understand, because at the end of the day, like, you have to understand your style and you have to be able to go all in on it, and that's the thing that I
Yeah.
think is super unique about your situation, and I really appreciate it because it
Yeah.
gives a very vivid description of, like, how to work the leads your way, meaning, like, the way that works for you as an agent, not just what somebody tells you, right? You gotta believe in what you're doing, and I'm sure people can hear that because at the end of the day, that's how you know, set it up for all the clients that you do work with. So, my last question would be more or less in regards to, like, what are your expectations in working with us? And then what are your goals for 2025 with us? And then obviously individually,
Yeah.
as a life insurance agent and an advisor.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. So we're like a conglomerate right now. So I feel like I'm very selfless, right? So I care about the people around me. I care about my clients, I care about the people on my team, and obviously wanting everybody to eat. But, I've been doing this a while, and this is the year where I really want to put my personal production, in the spotlight, kind of under a magnifying glass. I've done six figures in production the last 2 years, but I'd really like to get to, the 700, 800,000 mark this year for sure in personal production on the life side. And then, also dive into the annuities for sure as well. A million, 2 million in annuity production. That would be cool too. But, again, it's a conglomerate, right? So, we're a team, man. So with you, right? I'm just looking to have system that is sustainable. People are self-booking, the ad blows up, right? It's popular, and again, just making sure that the intent of the lead is there, and yeah, I mean that's a 700-800,000 in production. I really like to do seven. Seven's a lucky number for me. That's if I get at least 700,000 in production, I'll definitely be pleased. And again, just efficiency. Just waking up, having 10 to 12 appointments every single day. People are showing up to the Zoom, and I want to be so busy that I've no time for anything else, right? And the dials, I want to, I'd really, again, 700,000 is personal production mark, but efficiency is, for lack of a better term, that's definitely what I want. Just efficiency and reliable system to generate good leads, and build my book of business very large.
Right, right. Okay, cool. I appreciate you sharing. Is there anything else you want to give to just agents that are watching this? It doesn't have to be about us. It could be about just free game. The floor is really yours. If you don't have anything to say, that's cool too. But any last regards for life insurance agents in general, working with marketers, anything, the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, good looks. I would say, guys, based on my experience, there's a ton of people out there, a ton of digital marketers. This man right here is upfront. He is honest. He has experience in the game. He's been doing it a while. He was an agent, so he understands the highs and lows of the business being hung up on all the time. You guys really need to take control of your business, right? And stop kind of just throwing things at the wall, hoping that they stick, right? And you guys can't give up when it's tough. Most people give up in the gray area. There's a black area, there's a gray area in between, and then there's the white, the light at the end of the tunnel. In the black area, the dark area, you're kind of unfamiliar, you're just getting started. In the gray area, that's where a lot of people are. Maybe they've been doing this a few months, a couple years. You guys really need systems. That's the biggest thing in this business. And not only does Trey focus on the lead generation, but he helps you build your brand sustainable. Again, you need a firm foundation, guys, in this business, right? And you need online presence. It's 25, it's not 2017, 2018 anymore, where you could just call people up and just one call close, boom, 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 here you go. The products have changed, the industry has changed. So you guys need to partner up with someone that is going to help you implement not just lead generation, good lead generation, but your brand, your personal brand. And again, a system in your business that is reliable. I'm not saying AI chatbot to have that is nice, but you got to have someone that's reliable, that answers the phone, that has a good team, a good network of people around them that are fluent in the space of marketing, fluent in the space of lead generation, fluent in the space of branding. If you guys are like up in the air, I kind of want to spend the money, guys, everybody just wants to get a bunch of sales, let their savings account stack up, and then not reinvest in the business. You got to throw money into the business to get a good return. So if you guys are up in the air on who to pick, this guy is the man. He answers the phone when I need him. We meet once a week. I call him, he answers. I'm not saying it's gonna be the same for you guys, but I in all seriousness, no bullshit. This guy is the man. He is really done me a favor. And I know it's taken a little bit longer than my other investments from a lead standpoint to get up and running. But I look forward to the collaboration, bro. And I appreciate everything you're doing. And yeah, that's the last thing that I would say. You guys got to stick it out, right? The light at the end of the tunnel does come. It's just a matter of how disciplined you'll be and how well you'll build up your mental to be tough enough to keep getting through the nose, the not interested, the hangups, etc. So that's what I would say, hands down.
100%, man. Well, I appreciate it. As always, thank you for, hopping on. For everybody that is watching, if you guys have questions, you can obviously click anywhere on the website or click below on YouTube and get access to anybody on the team, get in contact with us for questions, comments, and concerns. And then, yeah, I hope this was very pleasant for you all to be able to listen to and offer a different perspective. It's probably our longest interview thus far, but I'm happy though, because it's got a lot of good content in it. So when we cut it up, agents will definitely be able to kind of sift through based on their questions and preferences. So I definitely appreciate you, brother. And everybody watching, have a great rest of the day. Thank you.